guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, The Bright Side Girl, and today we're going to be doing a space retelling recommendation video. In case you somehow missed it, I host a space-themed readathon. It is coming up. It will be running March 6th, a 2-week readathon, all themed around books set in about space, aliens, space training, all that kind of jazz. So in case you missed it, be sure and check out the announcement video as well as the full GALAXYATHON playlist. I will link up in the cards as well as down below in the description. All the details on the challenges and everything will be linked down below. I've got a playlist, I've got graphics, I've got a giveaway. It's going to be a whole fun time. So one of the challenges for the readathon is to read a space retelling. So this video is going to be a huge list of recommendations for you. Some I have read, some I have not. Some are very loose retellings, so just keep that in mind, but all of these will count for that prompt. So we're just gonna dive right in. So we're gonna kick this off with the entire Lunar Chronicles series. So these books are not super spacey. They lean more fantasy than they do space, but there is some space elements in here. There's a whole like lunar queen and all that stuff. These will pretty much all work for the readathon. They are separate retellings. So we have Cinder, which is a Cinderella retelling, Scarlet, which is a Beauty and the Beast, Red Riding Hood retelling, Crest, which is a Rapunzel retelling, and Winter, which is a Snow White retelling. But start and go in order because they all connect together. They follow different characters as the main plot and they have different retellings going on, but the old books do tie in, so don't start in the middle. Start with Cinder. So this of course is a Cinderella retelling. Cinder is a mechanic and she is like part cyborg. She had to be repaired because she lost her leg when she was a young girl. She was adopted by this really cool like scientist guy, his wife and his 2 daughters, and then he wound up dying and she's still a stepchild to his wife and the 2 girls. So it's got that full Cinderella retelling vibe. This is a heavy retelling, which is really cool. A lot of the elements come into place. There's a plague, there's a fabulous prince in here. Cinder is looked down upon because she's part cyborg. It is so cool, and don't let the cyborg thing throw you off. It is just such a fun series. These are awesome on audio. They're narrated by Rebecca Solar, who's like my top favorite female narrator, and it's just such a fun adventure and definitely works great for the readathon. All right, so we have The Stars We Steal by Alexa Dawn. So this one I read a couple years ago. This is actually a loose retelling of Persuasion, and it is kind of like The Bachelor / The Bachelorette set in space. So we have a princess in here and there is an engagement season and her family is kind of on the brink of ruin. They've like run out of money, and so she has to join this engagement season and basically try to find someone to marry that will hopefully save their financial situation. She is also an inventor though and would prefer to like sell her invention or like get it going. But she decides to go ahead with this engagement season anyway because that's what everyone's wanting her to do. And the descriptions in this and the whole situations are so fun. Like they have to go on these dates and they will change the look of the spaceship with like technology and things to make it look like whatever dates they want to go on. There's like a speed dating section. It's so fun. I think I only gave this one like 3.75 stars because the plot was like a little bit on the slow side, but this is really good and this will work for a space love story or a space retelling. We also have Brightly Burning by Alexa Dawn. So this is a Jane Eyre in space retelling. Again, I'm assuming it's going to be fairly loose. I have not read this one yet. I do hope to read it this year. So we have Stella, who leaves poverty behind and quits her engineering job, become a governess on a private ship, the Rochester. There's no water ration, more books than one person could devour in a lifetime, and an AI who seems more friend than robot. This seems like it will be very fun as well. I'm sure it will be very descriptive, like Stars We Steal, and a good one to add to your list. Next we have Stitching Snow. This is a loose Snow White retelling. I've said this in a couple other videos. I have kind of mixed feelings on this one. I feel like I need to reread it sometime soon. In this one, Princess Snow has gone missing and the king and his wife will stop at nothing to try and figure out who has stolen her or taken her away. And you're following Essie, who's grown used to cold temperatures and poverty, and she is like a space mechanic for drones that run the local mines. It's basically just like a whole ragtag team adventure. There is some strange stuff that kind of happens at the end of this one. There's like some mild abuse situations that happen which kind of come out of nowhere, so I need to read it again to make sure that I actually like really like it. At the time I think I gave it like a 3.5 star, but it might be worth checking out, and it is a Snow White retelling. We have Once and Future by Amy Rose Capetta and Corey McCarthy. I read this one a few years ago and I remember enjoying it like overall, but I don't think I ever continued on with the duology. So this of course is a King Arthur retelling. Our main character Ari crashes on Earth and pulls a magic sword from its ancient resting place, and she is revealed to be the newest reincarnation of King Arthur. Then she meets Merlin, who has aged backward over centuries into a teenager, and together they must break the curse that keeps Arthur coming back over and over again. They have to defeat the cruel, oppressive government and save humankind. I remember enjoying this one a lot overall. It was just like a wild, fun ride, and it's not super spacey, so if you're a little leery on the space books, this is a good one to jump into. We have In the Quick by Kate Hope Day. I believe this is an adult book. Not entirely sure, haven't read this one. This again is supposed to be another loose Jane Eyre retelling. So June is a brilliant but difficult girl with a gift for a mechanical invention. She leaves home to begin grueling astronaut training at the National Space Program. She's younger by 2 years than her classmates at Peter Reed, the school on campus named for her uncle. She flourishes in classes but struggles to make friends and find true intellectual peers. 6 years later, she's gained a coveted post as an engineer on a space station and a hard-won sense of belonging, but is haunted by the mystery of Inquiry, a revolutionary powered spacecraft powered by her beloved late uncle's fuel cells. The spacecraft went missing when June was 12 years old, and while the rest of the world seems to have forgotten the crew, June alone has evidence that makes her believe they are still alive. That sounds very fun. I'm going to try and get to this one for this year's Galaxyathon. Sounds very unique. I'm not sure how much of the Jane Eyre part is in there, but it could be on your list. Next, we have Heart of Iron by Ashley Poston. I believe this is part of a trilogy. This one is young adult, and this is an Anastasia retelling. So 17-year-old Anna is a scoundrel by nurture and an outlaw by nature. She's found as a child drifting through space with a sentient android called D09. Anna was saved by a fearsome space captain and the grizzled crew she now calls family, but D09, one of the last remaining illegal metals, has been glitching, and Anna will stop at nothing to find a way to fix him. So again, very loose retelling, but I've been wanting to check out this one for a while. All right, next up is Spinning Starlight. So this is by the same author that did Stitching Snow, but it is a different retelling. I believe it's a retelling of The Wild Swans, which I'm not super familiar with. 16-year-old heiress and paparazzi darling Liddy Jantzen hates the spotlight, but as the only daughter in the most powerful tech family in the galaxy, it's hard to escape it. So when a group of men shows up at her house uninvited, she assumes it's the usual media grubs. That's until shots are fired. She escapes only to be pulled into an interplanetary conspiracy more complex than she could ever imagine. Her older brother has been caught as well and trapped in the conduits between the planets. This one sounds pretty cool and unique. Alright, next we have Saga, which is a graphic novel series. This is an adult graphic novel series. It is very adult. It is very graphic in many different ways, but it is a fabulous series, one of my favorite graphic novels ever, and one of the ones that kind of got me into graphic novels more. So this is a Romeo and Juliet retelling. You're following basically two different species from two different planets who fall in love, and they have a baby, and they're both getting chased by their different planets for like committing the crime of falling in love and being together, and they want the baby gone and all that stuff. And you're basically getting told the story from the baby's perspective of her parents, and it's just so good. There's a lot of graphic sexual content and violence and things, but it just works so well, and it's like heart-wrenching and beautiful and really smart. So absolutely highly recommend. Works great for the readathon, and graphics are always great to squeeze in. Next we have How Rory Thorne Destroyed the Universe. This is one I found last year and I so wanted to get to it, but I really want to get to it this year. So this has been told that this is like a mashup of The Princess Bride meets Princess Leia. Sounds so good. Okay, so in this one, Rory Thorne is a princess with 13 fairy blessings, the most important of which is to see through flattery and platitudes. As the eldest child, she always imagined she'd inherit her father's throne and govern the interplanetary Thorne Consortium. Then her father is assassinated, her mother gives birth to a son, and Rory is betrothed to the prince of a distant world. When Rory arrives in her new home, she uncovers a treacherous plot to unseat her newly betrothed and usurp his throne. So this just sounds so fun. It has like a fun kind of like wacky vibe about it, and it's part of a duology or a trilogy. I really am pumped to get to this one. So we gotta see where those Princess Bride, Princess Leia things kind of tie in. Next we have Mirage by Soumya Dodd. Hopefully I'm saying that right. So this is a retelling of Prince and the Pauper, which is awesome. So in this one, basically our main character is impoverished and a big dreamer, and she is captured and brought to a royal court where she discovers she looks exactly like a certain princess, and she basically has to like take her place. And it's got that whole Prince and the Pauper thing. So I've heard good things about this one. It's got a nice like space fantasy vibe about it. So sounds like a good one to add to the list. Then we have one that I really want to get to for the readathon, and that is The Long, Long Sleep by Anna Sheehan. So this is a Sleeping Beauty retelling. So Rosalinda has been asleep for 62 years when she is awoken by a kiss. Locked away in slumber, the 16-year-old Rose slept straight through the dark times that killed millions and utterly changed the world. Hailed upon her awakening as the long-lost heir to an interplanetary empire, she's thrust alone into a dangerous future. Sleeping Beauty in space sounds perfection. So excited for it. Then we have Rogue Princess, which is another Cinderella retelling that I recently picked up. I'm so excited about it. So this is Princess Delia knows her duty. She must choose a prince to marry and secure an alliance to save her failing planet. She secretly dreams of true love and feels there must be a better way. Determined to chart her own course, she steals a spaceship only to discover a handsome stowaway. So I think this is a very loose Cinderella retelling, but that was what I had heard. Good one to add to the list. All right, then we have The Unconquerable Sun by Kate Elliott. So this is a gender-swapped Alexander the Great interstellar retelling. So Princess Sun has finally come of age, and growing up in the shadow of her mother, Irene, has been no easy task. The legendary Queen Marshall did what everyone thought impossible: expel the invaders and build China into a magnificent republic, one to be respected and feared. But the cutthroat ambassador corps, conniving noble houses, have never ceased to scheme, and they have plans that need Sun to be removed as an heir, or better yet, dead. To survive, the princess must rely on her wits and companions, her biggest rival, her secret lover, and a dangerous prisoner of war. So Alexander the Great in space? That sounds very cool. Okay, so those are all of the retellings that I could find. I hope that gave you guys some ideas. A few I've read, most I haven't, but I'm excited to check them out. Let me know if you know of any more space-themed retellings that I've missed. Let me know if you read any of these, if you plan on reading any of them for the readathon. Let me know if you're participating down below in the comments. Don't forget to check out all the information about the readathon, the giveaway, all that jazz. Watch that announcement video for more information. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at @TheBrightSideGirl, because we'll be doing a ton on there as well. And don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time on The Bright Side.